friends, I have the promised interview that I've been talking about in a few of my YouTube videos. My good friend Yeti is here with me, and we are going to talk toys and specifically Ninja Turtles. If you have seen a few of my most recent thrift hauls, I went to this like kids consignment sale and found some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys. I was like, yes, these are definitely vintage and cool. And then I shared them with my dear friend Yeti, and he was like, hold on, I have some information for you. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm so excited. Yeti, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
I love talking about toys, so I'm super excited to talk about something I like without people rolling their eyes and pretending they're listening.
Yeah, because they can just do that behind the screens and we'll never know. It's perfectly fine. Well, and it's very shocking that you like talking about toys, given all the toys behind you. It seems like something you wouldn't really be that interested in.
No, it's a very small collection that I have.
And I know, I've seen this office, and I know that like it goes much further than what we're seeing on the screen. Which
it's wall to wall.
Wonderful.
It's a shared office.
I'm 100% here for it. Oh, well, Yeti, I just wanted to like share or kind of just introduce you and start with like how we met, which I believe, if I'm like remembering my own personal history correctly, is through your art. I feel like you were displaying art at Boneyard Arts Festival here in Champaign, and I thought it was very cool, and I didn't know who you were or anything, but I thought it was very cool, and I had to like go check it out. And I feel like I was DMing you or something and saying like
Instagram.
Yeah. We were on Instagram, and I'm like, I really want to get one of your pieces, but like I'm not gonna make it today. I don't know, but there you go. Art like has blossomed into this friendship. Now you're like one of my husband's closest friends, and like in this like bro group where all of you are kind of like nostalgic 90s toy collectors and things. So that's kind of fun.
A lot of wrestling, a lot of turtles, a lot of superheroes.
A lot of just grown men reliving their childhood. And that's what eBay sellers love most, right? Is like they're grown-ups with money reliving these, things that they loved as children. And I'm here for it too. I like definitely search eBay for stuff from my childhood all the time. Like I really want to skip it. I don't know if you ever played with a skip it, or you just
No, my ankle was always too big.
Oh no. Well, that's why we call you Yeti, right?
Right, because I'm giant.
You're a bit of a giant, yeah. But yeah, so I'm so happy that now we're friends and we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on my YouTube channel. It's crazy. But I wanted to ask you, like, if you wanted to share a little bit of your history in toy collecting, how you became just so knowledgeable in this realm. I'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. So really started, he's way up there. So the only toy I had as a kid left over was a punk rock Donatello action figure. It's Donatello, the Ninja Turtle with a mohawk, tough jacket. It was awesome. And I had him for years and years and years. And that was really the only toy I had other than some weird odds and ends. And then I was out thrifting, as I do. And I came across a little toy from Thundercats, if you remember that 80s cartoon about giant cat people. Who fought mummies.
Perfect.
I found one of their figures for 50 cents. I looked it up on eBay. I was like, holy crap, this is worth $10. And I became obsessed with collecting toys again. I found Lion-O later at a video game store. And then I was like, I bet I could get Turtles for cheap, because that was always my favorite. And I just started buying Turtles as I saw them at yard sales, at thrift stores, and online.
Wow. And now like you have all your shelves full, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I have almost 200 vintage Ninja Turtles, specifically non-doubles, non-vehicle, not counting vehicles.
Dude, that's awesome. Like I love, you just threw that stat out. I have 200 vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, and I was telling you before we started recording, but I'll tell the audience too. I was watching the Netflix series, The Toys That Made Us, which is such a great series. And I was watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one ahead of this, just, for some extra background. And it was really interesting how they talked about all the different versions. They were like, we just have to keep cranking out new ones every month to like keep this thing going. And so that, yeah, they had like sports Ninja Turtles and
Yes.
Frankenstein Ninja Turtles and different vehicles and new bad guys. And
Sure.
so I think it's not surprising to me that you could have 200 of these things.
And that's what makes them, Ninja Turtles specifically, a lot of fun for me, because they are so weird and they went all out with those. I try to think of like, what Ninja Turtle do I really want that they didn't make? And it's really hard to come up with something because they made everything was a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, I think just Ninja Turtles in drag would be the thing that they didn't do. Or maybe they did.
No, they didn't. They should.
Well, that's awesome. So, yeah, I guess I was going to ask you too, like, okay, so there's one thing, it is one thing to collect items. Like I have a huge Pyrex collection, for example, because it reminds me of my grandma, but it's another thing to like be knowledgeable on what makes each item so special, what makes it unique, what makes it valuable. So how did you go from like collector to someone that has that kind of knowledge, the kind of more, not necessarily reselling, because I feel like you're nabbing these up for your personal collection mostly, but like, how did you start to learn that sort of thing?
Well, actually, reselling was a big motivator, because toys, while they're cheap, they're not cheap if you have a family, like any collection. So I started, as I'm looking for turtles, I end up finding other things that I don't like as much. So maybe I'll find a He-Man, and He-Man's worth $15. I could sell He-Man or trade He-Man for a turtle worth $15. So through that, I needed to become more knowledgeable about other lines so that I could get my best value to get more turtles, if that makes sense.
I love that. That's great.
So, so I went down, basic internet searches. There's a huge Ninja Turtle archive that lists every Ninja Turtle line, everything that came out on it, and all the variants of those things. YouTube was amazing. There's a bunch of great YouTubers, Pixel Dan, Ed's Retro Geek Out, the guy named Sween. His videos are really old, but they're really, really good, where they explain some of the rare stuff I missed as a kid. Like I aged out of it, and there were figures I missed. So it was a great education there. And also the biggest thing for me was finding Facebook groups of like-minded collectors who were there to help each other. And yeah, so that's been a great way of seeing other people's collections, and seeing what I don't have, or if I have a question about something, you can be like, oh, that figure came in 3 variants, and you need this variant, that variant, and this variant. So they're wonderful, wonderful places to get knowledge.
That is so cool. Yeah, I'm a part of a Facebook group where it's like, people kind of will post like just the most random, obscure little piece of a toy, and instantly other people are identifying it. They're like, oh yeah, that's a tire from a Matchbox car from like 1998 and whatever. And it blows my mind that people can see a little piece of plastic and immediately know where it's from, but that knowledge is out there. What is that?
Do you know what that is?
It looks like a brain with eyeballs. I don't know.
Right, and you post it in that group, and somebody would be like, oh, that's Mutagen Man from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's his insides somebody clearly opened. I love that group.
It's really impressive. I feel like I retain a lot of knowledge, but I'm not like, that's like next level. I do not retain that much knowledge on every single thing that ever existed. Like there are cartoons that I loved as a child that I can't think of the name of, and that's just, so anyway, like I love how you're talking about how you use your resources that are available. There's like YouTube links, there's forums, there's Facebook groups, all to kind of like help you to be more knowledgeable on this thing you're really passionate about, and also help you resell, because you do resell some things, right? You're on eBay and whatnot.
Quite a bit, yeah. I mean, I know what's valuable from some of the toy groups I'm in. I know what other people are looking for. For instance, I was recently at a flea market, and I found a giant action figure. It's about 14 inches tall, from Marvel Comics, specifically X-Men. I saw it for $3. I knew that it was a BAF, or build a figure, which means that it was pieces of that figure came with other action figures to encourage the sale of the entire line. Those BAFs are very expensive because a lot of people didn't buy every action figure. So I picked up this giant figure for $3. I knew I could sell it for 120, and I did. And then I was able to buy a bunch of turtles because of having knowledge of something I don't care about.
Yeah.
You know.
Is that, I mean, okay, this is a personal question you don't really have to answer, but like, are you really funding like your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection through reselling, or like you just buy turtles with it?
Yeah, okay. I buy a little. I buy everything. Because I have a very vast. I mean, I have He-Man, Transformers, GoBots, Brave Star, Inhumanoids, Ghostbusters, Fortnite. Oh goodness!
Sorry, you're buffering for me.
I've got horror. I've got Simpsons. Oh, sorry. I've got Simpsons. I've got all sorts of stuff. So I collect a bunch of things, not just turtles. Turtles my focus, but yeah, I do use the flip because, like I told you, I sold that figure, and 2 weeks later, I went to a toy show where I spent all my profits on that figure on more toys.
Well, I mean, that's like you're getting your whole collection, almost for free. Ooh, look at that.
This guy is 12 inches tall. I got him and two of his other brothers with money I made by flipping other action figures.
I love that. I think that's brilliant. I mean, if you're on the hunt anyway, and you're not necessarily seeing what you want, you can at least, pick up some things that you can flip to then go buy the things you want on eBay, perhaps, or at these toy shows and stuff. That is so cool. Oh my gosh, I'm so into it. So I guess we should move into, I could talk about this forever with you, but I guess we should move into the toys that I found. I found like basically a little baggie of 3 toys at this children's consignment sale. I'm telling you, this sale had so much that I didn't even look through. And I know you went after me and picked up some things, but I just found a bag of 3 Turtles figures, and it was priced at $3. So I just thought I'm gonna go for it because one of them looked vintage, and you could kind of like, you could very quickly, yeah, those are the ones. You could quickly tell like the more modern, like, you could tell the more modern versus the older ones pretty instantaneously. And so I thought, okay, if I'm seeing like an older one here, it could be worth something. So I picked it up, and then I don't even know how you found out. Like, you're stalking me. No, I'm just kidding. Birdie. I think my husband is like sending a message like, ooh, Chelsea found turtles. I better, So we started messaging back and forth. And I'm so glad too, because I sent you some pictures like, hey, this is what I found. What do you think? And you shared some really valuable information with me about them potentially being bootleg toys. I was like, is that even a thing? So I guess we could just move into like how, like from just one little picture that I sent you, you're like, boom, those are bootlegs, I think anyway. So how did you just like, from a quick glance, like think that? And then, I don't know, we'll just go from there.
Okay, so with the specific figures, these two, this Donatello and this Splinter, he was the wrong color. He was the wrong coloring. I immediately noticed because that like was not Donatello's purple. Wrong, yes, and the wrong purple.
Oh, okay.
This is more of a Prince purple, and Donatello is more of a crayon purple. Also, I knew that the sculpt or like the design was from the movie line of Turtles that came out after the second movie, and the movie line has a couple of very specific things about them. The movie line, if you can see here, has weird little dots all over his skin. Also, they are a very bendy rubber.
That's surprising.
And this one has no dots. And it is very, very stiff.
Yeah.
So I knew it was the wrong color, the wrong plastic. And I had one other telltale thing, is that Wish.com sells these as a 5-pack of all 4 of the brothers in the Splinter, as a 5-pack of toys, and they're just very notorious bootlegs in the Ninja Turtle world. This is actually the real version of that Splinter.
I love that flocked Splinter. That's so cool.
It's really, I'm actually going to steal the accessories from this Splinter.
Nice.
Yeah,
so like you were just at a quick glance kind of saw that. Are there any other indicators like markings that we can use to decipher it, or did the bootlegs kind of steal the markings of the original toys as well?
So it's really tough when you talk about something like that, because a lot of the bootlegs use the actual molds from the actual toys, or they're made from the original toys. So this guy has the same markings as my authentic one, except if you look on his foot, it'll be really hard to see on camera. It's very shallow. It's not very pronounced, unlike mine. So it just kind of looks wrong. But it for someone who doesn't know what they're looking for, it could be very tricky to tell.
Well, and what is the difference between, so like you said they're bootleg, and then I kind of went to knockoffs, but those are two different things, right?
Absolutely. Bootlegs and knockoffs in the collecting world are different things. So I have a collection of my bootleg turtles, which are, a bootleg is something that is pretending to be something that it's not. So these are fake Ninja Turtles. They're gross. I'm probably getting lead poisoning.
Oh,
They've got bad features.
Yeah, they look kind of like messed really up. Cool.
He looks like that dude from the Necromantics.
Yeah, yeah, he's got a pomp going on.
Right. So those would be examples of bootlegs, which are just the original toy. So that's supposed to confuse your mom. Now, a knockoff, a toy line that is designed to ride the wave of success of another toy, but be legally different. So this is Skeletor from He-Man.
Nice.
Very iconic toy. And this is Skullman from Galaxy Warriors, I believe. So he is a skull-faced man, but he is not Skeletor, who is also a skull-faced man. Which leads to a really, so that these are examples of knockoffs. So he's supposed to confuse your mom into thinking that that's actually Skeletor. Here, baby, here's Skeletor. No, it's just a different line altogether.
They just don't get it.
They don't. And what gets really confusing when you're talking about collecting and flipping is the values on these things can be wild. Like Pompadour Ninja Turtle, he's $5, $10, maybe $15. Not very expensive. He's not worth very much in collecting, but Skullman here is worth $100.
Oh, really? That really like shocked me just now.
Yeah, so he's worth $100. And there's no rhyme or reason to it.
I was going to say, is it because knockoffs were like, so the originals were maybe more mass produced, whereas knockoffs were kind of here and there, and there aren't as many of them, or just because it's funny?
Yeah, I mean, I think the common thing I found is people remember playing with them or having them. They're not really sure because this isn't Skeletor. They don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Or maybe their cousin had one. So they remember it fondly, but they don't know what it is. And they are produced in the smaller amounts. So I think it's a nostalgia thing that kind of fuels nostalgia and rarity that fuels the knockoff prices.
Okay. But bootlegs can be valuable. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, by the way, I found him for 50 cents at the thrift. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
is it hard to not sell him? Like, you're like, I could get $100 for this.
He's sold. Technically, he's sold. I'm doing a very long. It's been about half a year. I have a buddy who has stuff, and he's making me a pile, and I'm making him a pile that are worth more than him. So, yeah, bootlegs can be worth a lot. Just these crummy ones that are, they're just crummy. They're made in China, not worth as much. They're just neat for me.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting how people that have a collection of originals, they might want to like expand upon that and even include the bootlegs or the knockoffs and things like that to feel like their collection is, I don't know, even more complete maybe?
Unique.
Yeah.
I mean, part of mine too is driven as I'm an artist, so I like weird things that helps fuel creativity.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, how can someone know? I mean, I'm sure Google image search is kind of your friend at this point, but like, how can someone know if what they have is valuable or I don't know, if it's bootleg versus original? Do they just have to do the deep dive or what should they do?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be eBay. It's going to be, especially if it's something you don't know much about, finding a good Facebook group that'll help you identify toys is a very key, because like there's some people like me who've looked at it long enough that they know exactly what it is from instantly.
Yeah.
Google image search, it's hit or miss, especially when it's some really obscure toy that there may not even be many photos of. I've got a few of those that I've found that it's like, the only way I found it was because some person on some message board collected the serial premiums from 1972, and he happened to know which one I grabbed.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
So yeah, it's yeah.
I feel like for me, like when in doubt, I might just put it up for auction and see what happens.
Right.
And unfortunately, sometimes when you do that, you might get less than what it's worth. But like if you don't know, I don't know, put it up for auction and just see if like the collectors pop in and start rising the price up. I don't know if that's good advice or not, but I feel like that's just what I would do.
Well, as a collector, that's awesome. But
you're like, I'm getting a steal.
Yeah, exactly. And I've done that a few times. I mean, there's been times where somebody has offered me way less, and if they're happy with it, I'll take it. One of the things you can do, I don't know what the eBay ethics of this is, but this may be a bad thing, so don't do it if you feel ethically opposed to it. If there's something you don't know, yeah, put it up for an auction, but put a reserve on it. You know, you can, that's always fine, you know, to put, I don't know what this is, I'll see what people are kind of interested in, and I'll put a $70 reserve. If it sells for 70, good for me. If it doesn't, I'll know what people are willing to pay for it.
Oh yeah, I feel like that's fair advice. We're all just kind of like guessing sometimes, you know, like everyone has that thing that they pick up. They're like, I know this could be something, but I'm just kind of guessing here. To the auction it goes.
Yeah. Right. I picked up a unicorn dragon because it was a dragon with a unicorn horn the other day at the flea market. And I just thought it was a 50-cent dragon from China, you know, it was just look cool. And I went to go look it up on eBay and couldn't find anything. I went to go look it up on Facebook. People didn't know what it was. I did some searching, eventually found it. It's super rare, super dollar store, rare figure.
Yeah.
It's worth $40.
All right.
You know, so
that's
it's
great.
So I don't, you know, sometimes you just pick something up because it looks cool.
Yes.
I don't know what that.
I act on that all the time. All the time. If I have an impulse of like, oh, I remember that, you know, from my childhood, and now I'm old, and my childhood is like, you know, vintage now, the stuff from when I was a kid. So that's cool because I know about it. That's great. Because it's a lot harder for me. Like I've been trying to learn about things from the 50s and 60s, and that takes a lot more work. But hey, I lived through the 90s, and I can kind of be like, oh yeah, that was a McDonald's toy from when I was a kid, which I think I sent some your way, right? Some McDonald's toys that were like, I was like, my grandma had these. I played with these, you know.
I don't think this is the exact one, but this is one of the dinosaur ones.
I love those so much.
They're my favorite. They were always my favorite.
Like a little Transformer McNugget. Come on.
Yeah.
I
So
love it. So yeah, I'm acting on like if it's weird, kind of cool, or if I remember it from my childhood, I'm just kind of running with it. And yeah, then you can look it up and see if it's worth anything. And maybe you can resell it, maybe just keep it on your shelf as something fun. But either way, it's kind of fun to pick those types of things out, in my opinion.
yeah.
You talked a little bit about like sourcing at different places. You talked about like flea markets and like a toy fair. Do you want to talk a little bit about like your methods of finding some of this stuff? Like where do you go? How much are you willing to pay for stuff sometimes? Stuff like that.
Right. So you and we hit up the same places basically.
Yeah.
I was very upset with your last video because you got those Schlecks, and I would have bought that bag of Schlecks.
I started listening to them today, actually.
But so I go to thrift stores. There's one resale store I go to, and it's typically with the way the world's been and everything's been shut down, I've been able to make a little loop. So I go to one thrift store, then I go to Walmart, Target, and then I go to the other thrift stores. Right now, toy collectors will kill me for saying this, but the adult collector market's very hot right now, and you can people do make lots of money on brand new toys if you know what's hot.
Wow, that's cool.
Oh man, everything's a little out of my reach. I didn't think I'd be talking about it. But this guy.
Oh my gosh, he is awesome.
He's from the Ninja Turtles. There's a brand new line of Ninja Turtles made by NECA, and he is one of the punk frogs, which were 4 frogs that were friends of the Ninja Turtles. His 2-pack that they sell is going for double, triple online. So those are selling exclusively at Target. So there's been a lot of people going to Target every day. So I go to Target, and then the thrift, and if I really want to, I'll go across town to another thrift store. One of my biggest things, that piece of advice I ever got was buy Ninja Turtles at the Star Wars convention, because
what? Wow. Okay.
Because the Star Wars guys don't care about the Ninja Turtles. So in essence, go to where they may have something, but they don't care about it. So if you go to an antique store, it might be a good place to get toys because they don't know about toys. I know I've gotten some really valuable toys at record stores. I get really valuable toys at garage sales, any kind of like resale shops, places that just are focusing more on maybe high-end electronics or the 60s stuff, like the dishware and clothing. Those are good places to get things for really cheap.
Wow, that's a good idea that I hadn't really thought of. Like, I definitely have seen toys at like the antique stores, but once again, I'm kind of there looking for my housewares and stuff like that, and I'm not thinking of toys. So yeah, I bet they are pretty affordable because they know their audience isn't necessarily looking for it. So like, yeah, I'll put this here for 50 cents so that, the kid that is with mom at the antique store will grab it. And,
right.
Yeah, I love that.
Or the creepy nearly 40-year-old man. Like,
no, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I think I've seen like some stuff like that at comic book shops too. So these are some kind of places that I don't know that people are thinking of sourcing at. So that's really cool. And I was definitely intrigued to hear about your retail arbitrage and like you hitting up Target and Walmart for some of the newer modern stuff. I know I kind of am a collector of like Funko Pop toys. I don't really know if that's as much of a thing anymore, but like I don't know, maybe because your eyes like lit up. So tell me about it.
Well, so Funkos, with Funkos specifically, they do things called chase figures and chase variants, which are, in a big package of maybe 20 figures. There's one figure they only put one in that package. So there's 19 Ray from the Ghostbusters and one Peter Venkman. That Peter Venkman's going to be more valuable. I recently did pretty well with some Funkos that I bought for $10, and I was able to flip them for $35 because of some kind of Hollywood stuff that happened where the actor got into trouble and they lost they got fired and all of their
Oh,
stuff
I know
became
exactly who
valuable.
you're talking about. I also
Yeah.
searched for that pop toy. You must have got it
Yeah,
before me.
they were at Target. I had convinced my wife. She was only going to let me buy one. I'm like, no, these are going to sell. We're going to make. We spent less than 20. We made 60.
Okay.
So it's just keeping your finger on it. Her action figures, if you don't know, talking about Cara Dune from The Mandalorian. She got into some trouble. I'll let people learn about that on their own.
Yeah, for sure.
But all of her action figures, she was kind of a character nobody wanted, and then she gets fired, and now everybody wants it. Her action figures went from being $25 to going over $300.
Wow,
So
that's so impressive.
Yeah.
Well, and
So
I have to say, I'm a little
something.
salty that people didn't want Cara Dune, because her character, it hurts that she got into the scandal that she got into, if you call it that, but because she was such like a strong female character for that show, very heartwarming character, very badass chick, and so it's like,
Right.
hey, people didn't want her until she got fired. That like breaks my heart
sucks.
a little bit. It's not cool, but it is what it is.
I mean, that happens all. It's really funny too. I mean, it's just something else that's become kind of another thing, and specifically a female issue, I think, is April O'Neil, the Turtles female reporter friend. That's some of the cheapest, easiest to find, good condition figures because people don't want them. But the NECA, the really nice Turtles,
Yeah.
her figure was panned. No one liked it when it came out, and now it is one of the most expensive figures to find because it was such a short. It was they didn't I don't believe they put them out again, and they were sold in such short quantities. So that $50 figure is almost 200 now. So that's something too. Sometimes you buy the stuff other people aren't buying.
Yeah.
And then they'll want it later.
Yeah, because that creates a rarity. So like the toy, even when we're talking about these vintage toys, in the 80s and 90s, maybe a character didn't perform well. And so the toy companies were like, cut production. And if you hear my dog click clacking, so sorry for that. But yeah, they kind of cut production. And now, there's only 1,000 of those toys, whereas there's like 10,000 of the other figure, and so now they're more rare. So I love that, like the underdog becomes like the more valuable toy in a sense. I love that.
Well, that happened with She-Ra. A lot of these He-Man collectors have bought all the He-Man stuff, and now She-Ra is He-Man adjacent, so they're now going after that, and She-Ra figures have gone up in value. And then there's a knockoff version of She-Ra called Golden Girls that are also gone up in value quite a bit because they fit into somebody's He-Man collection.
I can only think of like the Golden Girls when you talk about that.
That would be really cool if it was like Blanche, but like with battle armor and a giant sword.
I feel like people would be into that. I feel like Yeti, you are the one to craft that toy, throw it into production. Let's do this thing. I mean, you are artistic. You can make it happen.
Oh, it's up there. I put all this stuff way too high. I made my own Hellboy Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, you can get some footage of some of the fun things that we talk about, and we could throw in some pictures throughout the video once I edit it. That's perfectly fine. Cool. Yeah, is there anything else that we need to cover for this specific series? I feel like I'm going to bring you back because it's just so fun to talk about this stuff. But I know like the initial goal of the video, so talk about these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, some info on like bootlegs versus originals. Is there anything else like our audience needs to know about?
Sure. I think there's just some lingo that might be a little toy collecting specific. When you hear words like mint on card, mint as an M-I-N-T, like pressed at the mint, and complete. Those are some very important things when you're selling action figures. So a complete figure is what it sounds like it is. It is the figure and all of its accessories. Doesn't have to be the packaging, but it's just the character with everything. And those accessories a lot of times can sell for just as much, if not more, than the action figure itself, because there have been a lot of throwing stars that have been sucked up into vacuums
Yep.
over the years. So mint condition means basically perfect right out of the package. Mint can either be on card, which means in its packaging, or off card. So a lot of people will buy kind of beat up packaging and then take it out of the packaging so they can have a pristine, perfect, complete figure that's mint. And then there's the on card, which is basically the same thing, but it's in the packaging that it was sold in the store. And then the packaging has its own sets of grading, like you know the little hanger, that the little hole for the hanger.
Yeah, a little like fob. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can find a figure with that not punched out, it's called unpunched, and they can be worth more than just a regular packaged figure.
Just that little piece of cardboard.
Yeah, 20. I mean, anywhere from $20 to $100 I've seen for an unpunched complete mint on card versus a punched complete mint on card. It's toy people are crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That's why we love them. Awesome. Okay, well, that is so helpful. Well, I do have one final question for you that I did not warn you about before we tell people how they can find you. What Ninja Turtle are you?
I'm Donatello. Donatello.
Because I know they have distinct personalities. Why are you Donatello?
I don't know. He's always the one I always felt nerdy when I grew up, I think. And I think I leaned towards him. Raphael was too mean, and Leo was nerdy in the wrong way.
Yeah.
He was like, I just want to, he's just goody two shoes, and I didn't like that. And then Mikey, I just wasn't Mikey. Mikey was lovable. We have a Mikey in our group, I think Corey Feldman's portrayal of Donatello in the original movie, he was funny, but he was also smart. I think that just endeared Donatello into my heart. So yeah, Donnie's probably, that's who I am. He's my favorite turtle out of all the turtles. That's actually, when I started collecting turtles, I was only going to collect Donatellos.
Oh wow, you were going to go like exclusive,
but I couldn't.
You welcome the whole family in. I think that's the right thing to do. Well, Yeti, thank you so much for doing this for me. This is so fun. I definitely want to chat with you again. We can think of more topics as we go. And maybe, friends, you're watching, if you have ideas of what you would like to see Yeti and I talk about as far as like vintage toys and collectibles goes, drop it in the comments, because hey, you like He-Man, you want to learn more about that? I bet Yeti knows a thing or two.
Yeah, and I'll check the comments out. I'll answer the best I can for folks, and maybe we can get another video out of it.
Got any questions? Drop them below. Yeti, how can people find you? I'll definitely have your links in the description, but you want to give a shout out to Instagram and whatnot?
If you want to help fund my toy collection, literature_nerd. I share it with my wife. We sell mostly toys and sci-fi books. So we've got a bunch of Star Wars books that are about to go up. I've got a bunch of Marvel action figure stuff that's about to go up. Also on Instagram, I'm Ghosts and Yetis, both plural. That's my artwork. That's a way to get in contact with me if you want some custom artwork. Like back there behind Chelsea, right there. I'd love to do some custom artwork for you too.
Yes, Yeti did like Skull Simpson's characters, and I thought that was just the coolest thing. I need to finish the collection, actually. That's what I need to do. I need to get yours. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I loved it. And yeah, so literature_nerd is your eBay store.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Ghosts and Yetis is your Instagram. And like I said, friends, I'm gonna have it in the comments below. So click it, follow, show some support to Yeti. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
We're done here. We did it.
Bye.